Next time on Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
To understand.
Well, I don't know if Miles is that great looking. He's a cute guy, I guess, you know, and Bashir's all right.
Bashir's all right.
Kind of a skinny guy,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
And now the conclusion.
The wormhole does bring them our way, doesn't it?
Everyone wants a piece of the new frontier.
And I'm sure you've already tried to sell it to a few.
You don't know what any of this is about, do you? You just don't get it.
If your lobes are tingling, it's one of two things. Either somebody has secretly snuck up behind you and pierced your ears, or you're listening to Audio Umox with your host, Captain John Christopher and
Simon Van Gelder.
We switched our names.
Have we switched places?
It's funny because this is not like a switch places episode, but I threw that out there to see what would happen.
There's a bit of that in there's a bit of that in here though.
I kind of thought, but I didn't. It wasn't.
It's not trading places,
right? It's a little. It's not on the nose, so I thought, well, okay, you know. So,
but
well, hey, John.
Okay.
I want to tell you something. I had a great time seeing you in your humble abode and recording our last episode there. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was great. Great having you here, and lots of fun.
Oh, we had a good time. Sorry, I wasn't prepared to record more than I think just one episode, but we were dealing with some new tech and we were trying to work that out, and I think it sounded good. I mean, I don't know if the show was good, but it sounded good.
But the audio quality.
That audio. It's kind of like, you know, you're nominated for an Oscar for, you know, sound editing.
Sound mixing.
And mixing. Yeah. It's like, yeah, what you said was horrible, but the way it was mixed was pretty good.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, you know, I am so reminded of the Iggy Pop song that was so covered by Pretenders for this week's episode, The Passenger.
Yes.
And I'm excited to talk about The Passenger. Before we do...
But first, the trend.
So I am enjoying a hometown favorite, enjoying a Goose Island summertime Kolsch.
Let me tell you, I had some of that.
If the friendly folks at Goose Island would like to sponsor us, I would be very willing to trade them for beer if we could come up with a bartering arrangement of sponsorship, and that will be my Tranya, moving forward.
I think that's something we should put out there on the social media. And I want to tell you, I had a Goose Island Kolsch while I was there visiting you, and I'm not a beer guy, and I loved it. And
yes,
so of course, when I come home, I'm back to my usual. I'm having actually, it's not a Vesper. It's a vodka martini. It's a vodka martini with a twist of lemon. It's delicious. It's delightful.
Nice.
We're recording on a Thursday night. I look forward to tomorrow night. I'm going to pick up some Rang Pure Tanqueray gin, and I'm going to have that tomorrow night. But tonight, it's
awesome.
All about the vodka martini.
Very good. Very good. So I see that you're using the new mic. Are you happy with the performance of your new microphone?
Well, I'm using. Yeah, I picked up a travel mic. It's a Meteor. I think that's what it is. It's a
Samson.
Samson not Samsung, but a Samsung Meteor mic. I typically use a Blue Snowball, which I know you use as well.
Correct.
For my home, but I thought I picked this one up for basically for our travels and for other travels I may have. And we couldn't quite get the two to mesh together in my mixing board. I'll work on that, but I'm going to see how this episode sounds with me using it here and you using yours there.
Yeah. Well, it folds up very nicely, and
Yes.
So
Well, it's kind of a grower, not a
Okay.
shower, you know.
All right. So I think before we get too deep into the episode, I did want to say this will be a bit of a Norm Crosby episode. And
in what way?
We may just want to throw down what a Norm Crosby episode is.
I can't do that Malaprop shit. Thank you to the late great Gary Shanley for that one.
So the names and the people, there are just a number of them that sound suspiciously like other things. So we will start calling them. I will certainly be calling them, a few of them, by what they sound like and not what their actual name is. So no disrespect to the writers or to anyone who has meticulously designed, chosen the names of these people, these characters and planets. But I just find them funny sometimes.
Well, you and we're very big on the Malaprop jokes and what is often called these days a dad joke, which I don't like how that cheapens the hard work we put into puns, but
true.
They call it dad jokes these days. But yeah, we are very much into Malaprop humor. That would be Norm Crosby, and which Gary Shanley, as I said, had made a funny remark about on the Larry Sanders Show. You know, he would talk about how Norm would say, "I'll be in my orifice," instead of his office, and he said, Artie, I can't do that Malaprop shit, and we do it every day. I mean, I'll call you or I'll text you, say, are you in the orifice? And you'll be like, yes, and it's a whole new experience today, whatever. It's always like, and we just riff on that. And if you don't find that funny, well, I don't care. All right, I really don't.
We'll be laughing. You'll just hear me laughing
snickering,
as you always do on these episodes.
Yes, snickering like Mugly. This teleplay was by Morgan Gendel, Robert Hewitt Wolf, one of my favorite writers on the show, and Michael Piller, one of the co-creators of the show, the late great Michael Piller. Directed by Paul Lynch. The Passenger is episode 9. For our, is this our 10th episode or 11th episode?
This is this is episode 8.
8.
Which would make it our 10th episode.
Yeah, because our last episode was episode 9, Death and Daxes, which we hope you enjoyed that one. Yes. Real quick, if it's okay with you, Captain, why don't we I'm going to go through the previous ones, and if you're just tuning in, because we're starting to by the way, we're starting to grow our Twitter feed a little bit lately. It's bloomed a little bit at Umox Podcast. That's at Umox, OOMOX Podcast. And if you're just joining us for your first episode today, okay, so this is episode 10. Episode 9 was Death and Daxes. Episode 8 was Bar the Q. Episode 7 was Tusk 2.0. One of my favorites, by the way. Also a crowd pleaser, by the way. That's one of our favorites.
Tusk.
Tusk. Episode 6, The Return of Jaheel. Episode 5, I'm Mo Green's Hungry Cat. Episode 4, The Jazz Hands Haggle. Episode 3, Ma, Where's My Pa? Episode 2, I Can See Your Wormhole From Here. And episode 1, Deep Space Nine, A Quick Overview. That one was, of course, devoid of any real humor. But, I mean, you have to start somewhere. But, it's funny because...
Humble beginnings.
What do you think out of those 9 episodes, which one is our most downloaded episode? I won't say how many downloads, but which one out of those can you think of?
Now, remember, I like Tusk. That would be probably one of my personal favorites.
But remember, too, that it's not fair to really make them equal because some have been out for...
longer than others.
But so you think the Tusk 2.0 episode 7? I will say this: if you were to kind of grade it on a curve, it is our most popular episode. But so far to date, the most downloaded episode is episode 3, Ma, Where's My Pa?
Ah, very good.
Yep.
Okay.
Followed closely by episode 1, Deep Space Nine, a quick overview. And then number 3 is Tusk 2.0. I think Tusk 2.0 is probably our favorite and best and most popular overall episode.
Right.
Yeah. Now, which one would you say is the total garbage one?
The rest. I don't know. I mean, I
it would have to be the stinker so far. Would have to be, and this is why you have to go listen to it, folks, and see if we're right or wrong, or other people are. Episode 5, I'm Mo Green's Hungry Cat. That one has really been sucking.
I don't even remember that episode. What
That's
episode?
Where the guy created a clone of himself to murder. And
oh yeah,
he's Mo Green, and he's got and then the Hungry Cat. And...
Yes. Yeah.
All right. And by the way, don't let me forget today's episode. Go ahead. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
Oh, I was just going to just begin with a general overview of this episode.
Yes,
which
go with it.
It seems that the writers are they're testing every staid, tried and true format, script writing format, and but just making it in space. And so this is this is probably another one of those where it's trying to create a mystery in space kind of thing with a little bit of action. And anyway, shall we dive in? Do you want to dive in? Did you have an overview?
I was just going to say no. I'll let you go with the overview. I just want to say that we're still on kind of the burn victim watch with Odo's makeup on this episode. So let's make sure we cover that while we're here. But please go ahead and tell us about the passenger.
Okay, so we open up, and Major Kira, Dr. Bashir are on some kind of medical mission. They're on their way back on the Rio Grande.
And he says, "There I was.
I'm
there
an
I
old
was.
cowhand.
There I was in the Congo."
He said yeah, so he's bragging yet again. This seems to be a common occurrence here in season 1 with Dr. Bashir, that he's apparently a very intelligent person, but has no skill when it comes to humility or women, and that's all he's got. All he's got is his ability to brag about his doctrine skills.
Or is he just really insecure that he has to be so aren't I great? I wonder about that, but go ahead.
I don't know. You've watched the series in more length and depth than I have, so you could probably speak to that. I think further down the road you'll see that there's he has some abilities that are very strong. I mean, I don't think he's lying when he says he's a good doctor.
No.
He just would be lying if he says he's humble. So they're on the runabout, and just as Kira is going to go punch him in the neck and knock him out, they get a distress call.
She wanted to, didn't she?
She did, and she would be, I'm sure, fully capable. After watching him fight in the last episode, I would think, yeah, she could take him.
Oh yeah, clearly.
Yeah. So freedom fight this. Okay, so they get a distress call from the Rayab, which is a Coliad transport ship, and so they quickly beam aboard. The place is going up in flames, and so Dr. Bashir finds a woman lying there, a Coliad woman named Tai Kajata. He gets her awake, and then he says, there's someone on the other side of this wall. She says, leave him, don't go save him. But he is a doctor, so he has the Hippocratic oath.
Right, and I had the Thai Kajata at P.F. Chang's once, by the way, and it's worth saving. Get a to-go box.
Yes, yeah, for sure. Yes, so he opens the door, and some dude's lying there, and And so he works, tries to revive the guy. He opens his eyes, grabs him, and says,
If you like pina colada, getting caught in the rain.
"Make me live," which is a little disturbing.
That's the first thing that I want to do with somebody who menaces me as they die is make them live.
Make me live.
Yeah.
So,
are you sure it wasn't
he
They Live? I love that movie. The scene with Keith David and Roddy Piper fighting for like 20 minutes by a dumpster has to be the classic fight scene. But I think that's They Live, isn't it?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Yeah, I think this was also my twin sons' first words as they were entering the world. Make me live. They just grabbed me, and no spanking necessary. So they're about to celebrate a birthday.
Oh my word, they are, aren't they? Jeez,
Yes,
Louise.
Yes. So he doesn't make it. This guy, Ray Ovak.
Right.
Ray Vantican.
Should have used the copper top.
He did not have power in his power cat, so he's dead. But Ty, I'll just call her Ty. Can I call her Ty? Is that okay?
You know what? I think she'd be okay with that.
Yeah. We're on a first name basis. So Ty says, I've known this guy. I've chased this guy for years and years, 30 plus years. And, you got to make sure that this guy's dead. And, of course, filled with his own ego, Dr. Bashir says, well, of course he's dead. I know from dead, and this guy's dead. So he endeavors to go, through multiple tests to prove that this guy's dead. Meanwhile, at Quark's, Dax, not Dax. So Dax is getting a rock to Gino. Obviously, Quark continues to have quite the hots for Godzilla. And does she even talk in this episode? Or does she just kind of sit and kind of smirk? Oh, yes, she does talk because she's involved in figuring out how, what Ray Ovak was up to, right?
She kind of does a lot of walking with her hands behind her back and looking.
Yeah. And then just having that kind of little smirky smile, that knowing smirky smile, which it rears its ugly head there at the end of the episode. We'll get to that. But
right.
Arachnino playing Candy Crush or something on her little pad.
Right.
And Quark and Odo are talking about how much Quark has the hots for her, but it's something he can't have, and Odo is making fun of him for it. So
right.
Yeah. Anyway, that's of course Odo brings up the fact that there's a vessel coming full of duridium. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Quark better watch his P's and Q's, just kind of letting him know that he knows that Quark knows and that kind of thing. And then they kind of part ways, and Lieutenant Primin shows up.
Yeah.
To talk to.
Yeah, the false start for Eddington is here. I know, I'm jumping ahead. Well, that's him.
Oh, yeah?
Well, and apparently, I checked the background. The invention of the Primin character came about because Colm Meaney, who, plays Chief O'Brien, he was about to become absent. Unable to appear as Miles O'Brien. And they thought that Primin would be a character that they would kind of use to kind of fill in the gap for Colm while he was away doing a movie. And we needed someone there for people to talk to. We wanted to show what the chain of command was, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Primin is like a Starfleet officer, security officer in his mid-30s, friendly
Right.
face, easygoing smile, and a passing resemblance to a teddy bear.
Yes.
Yeah. So he was in for a few episodes. He wasn't bad, by the way. He wasn't like Argyle in The Next Generation, which was stupid.
Yes.
And there's a whole Argyle thing, Biff Yeager, the actor thing, you can look up. We're not going to cover it here. There's another podcast that has handled that. But yeah, Primmon, but he kind of got written out after Meany came back, and it's interesting. We're going to get into this later in the series when Eddington shows up, the other chief of Starfleet security on the station. It's just interesting they didn't bring Primmon back, and they instead created Eddington. So anyway,
Wonder if the actor was unavailable, maybe.
God knows why, but I mean, he wasn't bad by any means, but it's not like the guy went on to, star in every, he wasn't giving Tom Hanks a run for his money, but,
Right. He's no
anyway.
Peter Scolari.
He was more of a Scolari kind of thing. And that's mean to Scolari. I mean, Pete Scolari's great.
He's had and has had a good career as well. Yeah,
he's won an Emmy or two. It may not be an Oscar, but he's good. So anyway,
all right.
Sorry about that. So you were talking
We
about
digress.
Primmon. Go ahead.
Okay, so he's kind of taken aback by the fact that Odo, the Duridium shipment to Quark, and so they kind of get off on the wrong foot. Primmon goes to tell Sisko what's going on, and starts talking badly about Odo. Says Odo doesn't need to be in the this private briefing, that he'll get him up to speed, and so Sisko calmly invites him to his office, closes the door, and really gives him what I think is a firm, very professional dressing down, and I really appreciated it as a former military person myself, that the professionalism with which he handled that. He could have yelled in his face and got little pieces of spittle on him and said you go, you trust Odo like I trust Odo, but he handled it again forcefully, but professionally.
What, have you ever been the subject of a dressing down, or have you dressed down an underling?
I think I've been on the business end much more frequently than I've delivered those kind of discussions. But as a manager, I've had to have those had to have those types of talks.
You always kind of dissemble when I bring that shit up. It seems like you really didn't do a lot of dressing down.
No. I mean, and it, for the most part, there isn't a lot of that goes on. Most people have high respect for each other and handle each other well. But for me, anytime it's happened, it's been when someone's tried to circumvent a chain of command or do those type of things. That's when I've gotten my feathers ruffled. But anyway, it's interesting. I just from a character perspective, that presents him as someone who is truly appreciates the people that are under his command, and he goes to bat for them. Because you could see by the look on Kira's face that she didn't like Primmon proper. Based on that initial conversation that she overheard, she was like, if I have to kick his ass, on behalf of Odo, I will. But it's obvious that Sisko took care of it. Primmon, though, I mean, to his benefit, did heed the advice of Sisko and really tried to make good on the relationship with Odo. So they continue on, trying to prepare for the arrival of this Duridium shipment. So Kajada.
If you like pina colada.
So Kajada.
If you like pina colada.
And Primmon believe that Rayovac has figured out a way to still be alive, to take his consciousness and move it somewhere. Right?
Right.
Am I there?
Yeah, you're moving. You're moving all over the place.
Have I gone too far?
No, I can just hear you moving your mic.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's all.
I'm just trying to center myself on the episode. I apologize.
It's okay.
All right. So next, some operational stuff is going on, trying to bypass the security, and so that's all happening.
Well, I mean, do we want to just jump to it? Do you want to just say there's a lot of mishigas that happens, and it ultimately ends up with this, and this, and it's fine. We don't have to go through line by line here. It's
okay.
It's not that great an episode. It's not.
Okay.
You know it isn't.
Okay. I know it's not. I was just trying to, trying to cover a few things.
You're endeavoring. I appreciate it.
Yes. There we go. So where did we leave off?
I don't know. See, I got to edit all this shit. So this is where you get to shine. I get to shine in post. I have to sit here for 2 hours and edit this shit. So you
cut out all my ums and uhs.
And mine too. So don't even think. It's not just you.
Okay.
You know what?
So,
hey, John, let's just cut to the chase. There's a lot of shiz go down. There's changing places, and
there's a couple of major plot things running in parallel. One is this Duridium shipment, and the security. So someone's trying to steal the Duridium. We're not sure who, throughout the episode, but they're trying to bypass security. They're sneaky in that they find these back doors and and
I'm not even.
Don't even go there.
Oh, God. This is already off the rails. I cannot wait till we get to some really juicy episode. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so the other plot line is trying to figure out, Ty is absolutely convinced that Rayovac is still alive.
Right.
Despite the fact that his body is dead, it's been verified as dead. And so Dax and Bashir are all trying to figure out what are there some possible alternate ways that this Rayovac guy could have transferred his consciousness to someone else. They start hypothesizing and thinking that maybe it's Ty, maybe they're not sure where this guy is, and
right.
And then Dax figures out what it is, and he had basically put his consciousness on his fingernail and maybe scratched someone. They check Ty, thinking it's probably her, and find out it's not. And then the two parallel plot lines just kind of crash into each other when the Duridium shipment arrives, and we see that it is a very slow-talking Julian Bashir.
Wait, let's pause for a moment.
But I assume you know that already. I want to talk to Dr. Bashir. Unfortunately, he's not available at the moment. Is he all right? His body is, how do you humans say it, fit as a fiddle. Looks rather good on me, don't you think? What have you done to his mind, Vatican? It was necessary to render him unconscious for the time being.
Us too. Here's the thing. I read up on this, and apparently Alexander Siddig, the actor, made a choice with his voice that initially he sounded like freaking Bela Lugosi. And no, seriously, and they made him go back and loop the whole episode again.
Oh,
so you think this sounds bad? Imagine.
It was even worse.
Oh, Captain Cisco.
I've come to say goodbye.
I've come to suck your hypospray. Yeah, it's...
I don't say blah, blah, blah.
I don't say blah, blah, blah. And then there's Primin, who's all like, I'm just a teddy bear until Call Meanie gets back. Anyway, yeah.
Okay, so everything collides as Bashir reveals that he's the power cat. He's in charge. He's shooting things, I'm not sure if again there are a number of times in this first season where people get shot that I'm not sure if the phasers are on stun or on kill. But I would think that it's a high probability with this character that that Bashir, while demon possessed, murdered 3 or 4 people.
I think you're right. And one thing that also got murdered was Odo's makeup. Yet again, we're treated to Odo, the burn victim. He does not look right. It's not good. Regular fans of this show, not of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, but of our show, Audio Umox, both of you, will note that we have noticed the first, 8 episodes that Odo's makeup at best looks like crap, and at worst, a burn victim. Well, we are treated to yet another variation of such.
A Ken doll as a geisha.
Oh, that's a nice. Ooh, that's good. Well, and you notice too.
Imagine the synthetic hair.
Well, until they started using additional hair pieces to help out Rene Auberjonois, you notice that the hair is usually his real hair, but the guy, like all of us over the age of whatever, are losing their hair. It just doesn't work. So they needed a lot of facial filler. They needed extra hair. He's not Odo that we grow to love for another few episodes. I just wanted to break in and say that, and also again remind you that when you're watching this episode, that Bashir is like being looped, and the voice he's using is only slightly better than the original one. And the part where he scratches up his hair at the end, and like he gets whacked with a beam, and then he like frizzes out his hair, and he's like, "Where am I, man? What the what? Shields? What shields? Shields in Yarnell? What?"
He doesn't recognize that it's a ship that he's sat on how many times.
Well, that's what she said.
What the where who the
It's you know what?
Yeah.
Look, let's just wrap it up. Okay. They get Rayovac out of him.
At the last minute, they're able to.
And Sisko gets to live out his dream of shooting Bashir with a phaser.
And he has a terrible headache.
Don't we all?
They take Rayovac's consciousness, put it into some little
hockey
CD
puck.
It's
actually one of those things you get at the restaurant when you're at on the border. Your table is ready, sir.
Links when your table's ready. Yes, it's a ready call system.
See, only you would know what that is. It's the hockey puck that says your table is ready. Go ahead.
And Ty
Babylonia, TIE fighter. Yeah, she just whips that. Yeah,
and there's nothing left but just a little scorched piece of
a little skid mark,
matchstick, and they cut the camera over to Dax and Bashir. They
Their
look at each other
faces
like,
are priceless.
Oh, yeah. So Bashir's a little bit scared. Dax is like, "Oh yeah, I've done that before."
Dax totally looks like she's just totally getting off on that's how the F you do this shit.
I burning bedded my third wife or husband or
whatever. Yeah, back when I was beef satay or whatever.
So there were bits of kind of Holmes Moriarty between this woman and Rayovac.
Nice, well played. Nice.
But I don't know. You want to just and that's it. And then they, of course, close the show.
They do everything but the Starsky and Hutch freeze frame at the end with everybody laughing.
Yes. You burned up. You just committed murder.
Yeah, I mean, the last shot before they show the station is Dax and Sisko. Well, no, it's not the last shot. One of the last shots is Dax. Oh, it's before TIE Fighter blasts the hockey puck. But there's like shots, everybody kind of happy, and Bashir is all like, I'm just, glad y'all figured out that it wasn't really me. That voice I tried, it's embarrassing. My agent is on the phone, so I don't get dropped.
And yeah.
Yeah, but wait, I'm getting ready. I'm like sitting here thinking, wait, I'm actually watching the bit you just mentioned where TIE Fighter, she's like, may I assume that you've returned custody of the prisoner to me, Commander Sisko? And he's like, the prisoner? So let's hear what he says.
Oops. Gotcha.
And there's Dax looking mildly aroused. And Sisko's looking around like, wait, what the what?
Dude, maybe Trill have an erogenous zone on their back somewhere.
I don't know.
That's my theory. That's my fan theory.
But I mean, it's like Dax looks aroused. Bashir's like, what the what? And then Sisko looks around like, wait, did I miss something?
What just happened?
And it's like
here?
fade to credits, and the next episode is, oh geez, no.
What's the next episode?
Move Along Home. Universally rated as one of the worst episodes of Deep Space Nine ever made. We will have to see.
So we can have fun.
Well, we can have a great deal of fun with Move Along Home. I don't know if you'll find it as such. I actually watched this one again about 4 or 5 months ago because I remember reading about how horrible it allegedly was, and
is that you're in agreement that they were?
You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. Since I've seen all 7 series or seasons, I have to say that it's not. It is bad. It's probably the worst of the first season, probably the worst of the first 3 seasons. But the worst episode, I don't want to give it away, let's just put it this way, involves a Ferengi-centric plot. Yeah, I think a lot of DS9ers, a lot of Niners out there are going, I know exactly what Simon is talking about. But that's not the point. We're going to finish up here with TIE Fighter and the group and the Primin and all the stuff. And
all right, so what's your general opinion of the episode?
It's a little better than the last one, of Death and Dax's. I'm going to give this one 2.5. 2 bars, 5 strips. So that's 2.5. 2 bars and a half. 2.5 bars of gold press platinum.
Okay.
You?
I'm more in just a solid 2.
You don't think it's better than the Dax?
Yeah, but not much.
Not enough.
Call it 2.25.
Okay.
2.25.
So 2 bars and a couple of strips.
Yeah. I mean, it was. I mean, even if when Bashir or
Bantica.
Yes, the Bendicum.
Yeah.
The Bendicum. Are whispering in Quark's ear. It's like, well, how many people with a British accent are on this ship? It's got to be Bashir. I mean, I knew at that moment,
right?
If not before.
That's a great point.
I had a pretty good idea before.
Yeah.
And then actually, you didn't have the ability to do this back in the day, but if you freeze frame it, you see his face
Get out.
You can see it. Yeah.
Clearly, it's clearly.
Yes. Clearly enough. Yes. Go back to that scene.
I will.
You see the gloves, and then when he throws Quark away from him, and
that's it.
Then you can see him.
They didn't even use an extra.
I don't think so. Anyway, so that got me. But
all right. Well, what about
a favorite quote? Okay, so favorite quote. I really identify with Quark's attraction to Dax. I have been the guy who was attracted to someone from afar and was probably in the friend zone, or some of it may have been I just didn't have the courage to approach them. And Odo says to Quark, "You're deluding yourself." And Quark replies, "There's nothing wrong with a good delusion. I sell them upstairs to dozens of people every day." So I found that funny, just that it's just the way it is, and don't we all like a good delusion now and again?
Oh, as I get older, I have more and more. Well, I like the quote between Tai Kayata, and Odo. What kind of fool are you? Well, my own special variety.
Yes, uh,
That's pretty
that's,
good.
yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
And there are a few good quotes and interactions. It's just the overall episode
It's still, we're
thought
still,
was lacking compared
well,
to
it's still coming together, isn't it? I mean, let's
yes,
be honest. It's early days in the show,
yes.
and yeah. So, Deep Sex Nine. Anything remotely sexy or romantic or interesting?
No, and not really. I mean, I looking at the actress who plays who played Ty. What's her
Oh,
name?
Caitlin Brown from
Caitlin Brown.
Babylon 5. Gee, she was
So
Nataf on
she's
that.
a very attractive woman.
Oh yeah.
Her character, however, there was absolutely nothing. But I could tell why the casting director chose her.
Physically very imposing,
Yes,
very
yes.
strong.
Yeah, she did come across certainly as a strong person. It didn't sound. I didn't feel like she was, forcing that interaction or that discussion of how she's been chasing this guy for so many years.
Right,
But
right.
but from a Deep Sex Nine perspective, I didn't see anything.
I think we
You?
already covered mine. Yeah. Oh, it's definitely after Ty blasts the hockey puck. The look on Dax's face is pure sex.
Oh,
I mean, she's just like.
it's delicious.
I mean, she's like totally.
Make me live.
Oh, something made her live, but that's good. But I mean, seriously, look at that face. It's like it's not even bemused or amused. It's like, yeah. So I like that. That's my Deep Sex Nine.
All right.
All right. So coming up on Move Along Home, a very derided episode 10 or so of Deep Space Nine. It's a visiting delegation from the Gamma Quadrant turns 4 crew members into pieces for a bizarre game. Yeah, this one will be fun if you really. I mean, in a way, it's shooting fish in a barrel with this one coming up. But we're gonna give it I'm gonna try my best to give it a fair shake and grade it not on a curve, but just grade it as a regular episode and see how it stacks up. But I gotta say, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. But I will already go ahead and let the cat out of the bag and say this is not the worst episode of the series, although it's in the bottom 5.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's saying a lot. When there are 173 episodes.
Bottom 5, yeah.
Bottom 5.
I mean, there's some actual parts of it that are, well, you know what? We're not talking about that episode tonight or today.
Okay.
But
Right.
I'll tell you, there's a couple of parts of it that are frankly adorable and fun. But we'll get into that next week. So don't forget, folks. We'd love to hear what you think, and the best way to tell us what you think is to get on iTunes in particular. We're also on Stitcher and Google Play. But get on iTunes at the Audio Umox podcast page. Leave some stars and a review. It is so simple to do. Just let us know what you think about the show. Here's how you do it. You go in, reviews, click that, punch in a few stars, and say, I like this about the show. I don't especially like that, but overall, this is why I listen. That's your review. It's not difficult. And John, I don't understand why people don't get this. If we had 10 people do this, 10, we've had one so far that I know of, maybe 2. If we had 10 people do this, we would all of a sudden jump in the eyes of the iTunes gods who control which episodes of shows get pushed up in front of people. If we had 100 of these, we'd be considered one of the most successful shows
in the genre.
Right now, we have 1 rating, 1 review. A fellow says, Lobes, Tranya, and Laughs. What a fun show. The hosts have a thoughtful analysis of DS9 and are not afraid to laugh at the show and themselves. when it is warranted. I enjoy listening in as two longtime friends discuss the show and life. Their rapport is great, their laughter is contagious, and the friendly ribbing is hilarious. The audio quality improves as the
Well,
show progresses. It is worth a listen. 2 out of 2 listeners found that review helpful. That's all we've got. And it's a 4-star
yeah,
review. It's not even a 5-star review.
nice.
That's the thing. We're not a 5-star show.
We're not perfect.
No. And,
No. If we were perfect, I
Yeah.
would be getting Goose Island Summertime Kolsch for
yeah,
free.
just for drinking.
They
it on
would
the
just
show.
they'd be sending them to my outpost.
That's right. Your outpost. That sounds vaguely naughty. But the point being, folks, it's not that hard. If you like the show, and it's like at the audio at Umok's podcast on Twitter, I've had a few people comment, "Oh, I don't know how to leave a review. I don't have time. Or I don't know how to write a review." It's like, wow, you're the same person who will stand next to me in line at a fast food joint and go, "I can't stand this freaking burrito supreme." You can't do the same thing online, or I love, a pulled pork sandwich. You can't do the same thing. All right,
Right.
I'll climb down off my soapbox. Give me some help here. All right, so at Audio Umox is the Twitter. I'll make a deal with the listeners. I'm going to make a deal. Some people have hinted, if you guys, I'm not big Twitter people. I'm a Facebook person. Get a Facebook page. Well, I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to lay this out. And, I may have to edit this later because I'm on a rant here. But, okay, it takes us minimum an hour to record a typical show. It's an hour to watch the show prior to and make notes. It's, for me, as the editor...
More than that for me.
Right, well, okay.
But many of these I've never seen before.
So maybe let's say...
So I'll watch the episode 2 to 3 times before we record.
Wow, so your investment's about 3 hours per episode, to be conservative, total.
Yes.
Watching, note-taking, and recording. So my investment is a little shorter on the front end because I've seen most of the episode. Well, I've seen them all, but I remember most of them. So I'm going to say rewatch plus record. So that's 2 hours for me. And then it's another 2 hours minimum to edit, find audio drops.
Which I apologize for.
Why are you apologizing?
I am by far. I am not I'm not an audio kind of guy.
I'm not either. I just figured it out.
I'm not a speaker by nature. At least not a extemporaneous speaker.
Oh, you're doing fine.
So
don't say that.
So
no, I'm not.
But I'm having fun, and I
am too, and I'm not complaining. Look, right. This show would not be a show without you and without us together. I'm just trying to explain to the fans, though, the listeners out there. They may not even be fans yet. So you're putting in, let's say, 3 hours or so an episode. I'm putting in 3 to 4 hours an episode. It also costs money to post the episode. Now, we went into this with our eyes wide open. We are big boys. We understand. We are not doing this to make a living. We're not. That's not even it. But if but when people come to us and go, I wish you had a Facebook page. Okay, I'm also, by the way, managing the Twitter feed, most of it. Now, John will tell me if you want something posted, but you have access to it, don't you?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think you gave me the password.
You should log in and
it's a retinal scan of some sort, right?
Well, you should use your retinal scan. Get in there. But the point is, I can't add another thing to this burden if we have just one review. So I'll tell you what, if we get 10 reviews before Halloween, okay? 10 reviews before Halloween. 9 more reviews before Halloween. We will, and I will run it, and John will help me. We will create a Facebook page. I'm going to sweeten the pot a little bit more.
Yes.
I will also commission T-shirts. And we will start giving away T-shirts. We'll have varying contests. But that's only if we have 9 more reviews before Halloween. I mean, folks, if you're a listener and you like the show, if you're listening to other Star Trek podcasts, we're offering we're doing a fraction of what they do for fan service, and it's simply because of economics and time. So if the interest is there, and 9 more reviews come through by Halloween of 2017, there will be a Facebook page, and there will be T-shirts.
Or mugs, maybe?
Well, mugs,
We could do
T-shirts.
coffee-
Yeah,
coffee
we'll do the whole Cafe Press thing. I mean, you're the artist.
Perfect.
You're the artist, dude. You're gonna have to come up with some kind of art. So
I'll see what I can put together.
you really should. I mean, it really just involves putting ears on things that looks graphically mildly sexual. So.
Yes.
All right, so we've gone on long enough. This has been almost an hour, and a lot of it's just ranting and raving and silliness. The episode, let's face it, wasn't so great. It's first season, it's more miss than hit. But I had fun with my buddy, John Christopher, Captain John Christopher. You're not retired. What are you?
I am a veteran.
You're a veteran, but you're not retired from the service.
I did not serve a full 20 years.
You did not do your 20.
I served a stint.
What was that, 6 or 8? Something like that?
No, it was more like 4.
But including reserves?
Well, I was on the individual ready reserve for a very long time, but I was active and in the reserve, about 4 years.
That was it.
It seemed like a long time, but
because you got called up so often, that's why it seemed so long.
Yes, I was deployed a couple of times.
Yeah, man, you did your part, man. I don't mean to be like all, but I want to say it. Thank you for your service.
It was my pleasure. Glad to serve.
Well, I know you were.
And I got a good deal out of it.
You
I
sure
was
did.
very fortunate. I was very fortunate, but got I was able to get some great experience out of it as well. So.
Right. And I don't want to be hackneyed about it. But I mean, I sincerely thank you. I mean, you got paid for it and you got some experience for it and it was good for you, but still, it was a sacrifice. So
yeah.
Nobody knows that. Almost nobody knows that more than me because I'm your best friend and I know a lot of what you went through because of it. But anyway, so I think that perspective is important to thinking about these Starfleet officers on an outpost in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, for the whole going back home, last episode, going back home to see Keiko's
mother.
Was it mom or was it grandma? It had to have been mom.
I think it was her mother. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, her celebrating her 100th birthday. Yeah. So those types of holidays are a challenge for active duty military folks.
Yeah.
And the scope and size gets even bigger when you're covering an entire quadrant of the galaxy. so it's it's interesting. It's interesting.
Well, it is. You bring a perspective that's really important there, and we appreciate that. So, all right, this episode, The Passenger, basically 2 bars of gold press platinum out of 5. We're looking forward to Move Along Home, I guess, next week. If we get
along home,
9 more reviews by Halloween of 2017, and you'll get a Facebook page, and we'll start giving away merch
stuff. Yeah.
And I don't know how to make it any better than that, John.
You've sweetened the pot.
Yeah. All right, then. Until next time, remember, we're on the Twitter for now at Umox Podcast. Yes. And as ever, he is
John Christopher. And that dude over there is
Simon Van Gelder. And until next week, the docking ring is closed.
If you like pina colada.
Pros do it right to take their business to the next level by relying on trusted brands to get the job done. Lowe's is here to help and help you save. For your next stain job, get a gallon of Valspar One Coat Transparent Stain Plus Sealer starting at $35.98. And we now offer the Little Giant King Combo Ladder, the world's first step, extension, and leaning ladder, giving you the flexibility to do just about any job for only $159. For trusted brands that make the job easier, do it right for less. Start with Lowe's, U.S. only.